Hey guys, it's me. You're about to see something you don't see very often on YouTube anymore, especially since YouTube took away what a lot of us long-time YouTube heads thought of as quite a nifty little feature. This is a response video. Who am I responding to? Why, a YouTuber by the name of Griffin Gaming. Hello Griffin, I am Zenbloke. I recently saw your video where basically you were going like, why do we have to pay for online gaming? Let me first start by saying I largely agree with you. It is completely annoying that we have to pay for it, considering, as you stated yourself, back in the days of PlayStation 3, we didn't have to pay for online gaming. And you've always had to pay for Xbox, but you know, Xbox do have things like being able to change your identity and stuff. But I would raise with you a particular point as to why, at least on PlayStation, they would have you go along with the idea of why they think we have to pay. And I can see some validity in that argument, although admittedly, like I said, I do technically agree with you. Big point is that you missed it when listing things in your video. Maybe you meant to, maybe you just forgot it, I don't know. But one of the reasons we pay for a PlayStation Plus subscription is that we get free digital storage. So basically, you know, your game saves, and you know, anytime you've bought a piece of DLC or you've bought a digital game, that is remembered. You know, everything you do, you can, I think you get like 10 gigs of space or something. It's, well, whatever it is, it's a fairly large chunk of digital space that you can have, and that's part of the PlayStation Plus subscription. Also, on a minor point, it has been said by various Sony executives over the years that basically one of the main points of PSN becoming a paid service was so they could improve the network. Now, some would argue it's not improved, but if you go back to PS3 anytime, and I do occasionally, I still have my 60 gigger. The network for PS3, even though it's now a paid network, it's not great. It's never been that great a service, but when you go back and really look at it, the PSN was shonky, to say the least. And that's because, technically speaking, the PSN was basically an afterthought. You know? The idea of being able to play online was, you know, not really considered that much by Sony. They sort of tacked it on. I mean, hell, we've only just recently hit the 10-year anniversary of trophies. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that the online network is a thing that is paid for because Sony are still trying to make it better, and the only way to make it better is to have investment into paying people to continually do it. I mean, consider the amount of times you turn on your PlayStation just for there to be updates to the firmware for how it runs. Now, I'm no software engineer, I'll put my hand up and admit that. But I'm betting that a lot of those updates are basically how the PSN works and how the PS4 works within it. So, like I say, I do agree with you, but there are things that we do pay for other than the free games. Because, you know, when you're buying games that you don't necessarily want, and you know, this is supposed to be a sweetener. We've all heard this argument back and forth. You know, they're not free games, you pay for them, you just pay a very small amount. You're paying, 50 quid a year for 6 games, and most months you're lucky if you want one of them. So yeah, there's always that argument to be made. I mean, I've seen myself over the years, not pull down that much from the PSN. There are some things, yes. And then of course there's always the thing of, well, sometimes I get things on PSN and I've already owned them physically. And that is a bummer. But then there's nothing that can really be done about that. So all we can really say is Sony needs to change the messaging. Don't call them free games. Call them heavily discounted games. Games that are part of your PlayStation Plus subscription. Don't call them free games, because they're not. They're super cheap, yes, but free, no. Now, we all like the sound of free, and that's part of the marketing, so I can understand that, because as a YouTuber, I continually have to market myself across all my various platforms, across Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and my Redbubble store. And of course, speaking to people face to face and at conventions, continually trying to market me. So then more of you will find me, watch me, and hopefully hit that subscribe, and maybe even, heaven forbid, click that bell. And then YouTube might let you know when my videos are up. So, in rounding it out, Griffin, yeah, it's a cruddy situation, but quite frankly, I don't think the likes of you and me are really ever going to change it. The only thing I do really worry about is come March 2019, what PlayStation Plus will become, considering the removal at that point of Vita games and PlayStation 3 games from the cheap games selection, shall we call them, of PlayStation Plus. So, yeah, what are we going to get then? Are we going to get more PlayStation 4 titles and maybe a couple of VR titles? If that's the case, I'm fine with that. But they need to raise the game on what they give us for PlayStation 4. And I think they have to do better than, some of the stuff they have given out for PlayStation VR. I mean, I have PSVR, as some of you out there will know. And, yeah, on rails horror rides? No. Glorified walking simulators? No. There are great games on PSVR. Some of the stuff you showed us on the original demo disc, there was some great stuff there. Give us some of the full versions of those. Even if it's things like Tumble VR. As long as it's the full version. Because there's some stuff that, no matter how tasty PSVR is, and how cheap you make it, the games, they're just not going to sell. So you may as well cut the losses and get people playing those games. Because the more software exists for PSVR, the more units of PSVR could be sold. Because then you can say, look at the library. That's what worked for PS1, 2, 3, and now for 4. Look at the library. If you could look at the library and go, there's like a zillion games, then that's what helps sell systems. Not features, not promises, not even graphical grunt. Look at the Nintendo Switch. There's no graphical grunt there. I mean, hell, it's running the same chipset as an Nvidia Shield. Please. How old is the Nvidia Shield? So yeah, it's not about power, it's about the games. You make the games awesome, people are going to come. That's always been the case. And you understood that at the beginning of the PS4, Sony. That's why you went games, 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 games. And Microsoft failed at the beginning of the generation because they went sports, 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 TV, 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 sports, sports, sport. You made a system that was 100 quid cheaper. Microsoft made a system that cost you 100 quid more, and they're stuck on a spy camera. this is ancient history. We're digging up through the past. Basically, but none of it. A lot of us really don't like the idea that we have to pay, for these games that we don't really get to pick. There was a while when Sony was giving us a vote, but it was a fairly meaningless vote because it was just a bunch of rubbish games to vote from. And I don't think anybody really bothered. I think a very small amount of PlayStation subscribers actually used the vote, which I think is why Sony pulled it. Anyway, if you want to get back to me, Griffin, and retort, or, please, share this video that I actually respond to, that would be very lovely, because Lord knows I could use the eyes on me. And yeah, as always, please remember to rate, favourite, comment, share and subscribe, and aye, nae bother.